Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, I'm Alex. This is the Ramble. That's the city below us, New York City. And we'll be here till midnight, Eastern Daylight Time. Ladies and gentlemen, there she is, Lake Oswego. Every 2 weeks we drop out there, or we drop in there, or we go there and find out what's happening to the wonderful world of Ronnie Bennett. Hello, Ronnie.
Good morning. How are you?
In case people, it's the first time you've ever joined us, the reason her last name is Bennett is pure coincidence. Anyway.
Yeah, right.
Actually, she married me at one point, and then she didn't want to get rid of the name. So,
You know, if we hadn't gotten divorced, we would have been married, can it possibly be 65 years?
Oh, boy.
I'm not sure. I can't do the math that quickly.
Oh, boy. Well, at least maybe we would have had kids, and then we would have had somebody to take care of us. You know.
Don't you remember a discussion we once had when we were living in Riverdale in that apartment about it?
That's in New York City, folks. Go ahead.
And it was referencing the cats that we thought it was only a half serious conversation, or maybe half funny, but we weren't going to have children because it was so much more work. With the cats, you just put the food and the water down on the floor and walk away.
Right. Right. They clean themselves.
Right. They take care of everything.
You know. And if you get enough of them like we did, they just ignore you.
Right. Yes.
When we broke up, you left me with 5 cats.
No, 4.
Really? Where did the 5th one come from? Well, anyway, enough cats.
Yes.
They literally took over the house. I mean, they ran the house. I had no say-so in the matter.
That happened after I was gone?
Well, when you were there, you ruled the house, and I had no say-so in the matter. So, so there wasn't much difference. There wasn't much difference. Yeah, but
you know.
Yeah. Do you still remember the name of all the cats?
Yavas and Shadif. Shavas and Yadif. And, no.
Bert and Charlie.
Oh, right. Charlie was a great cat.
Charlie was the best cat, the smartest cat I ever had. I mean, bar none. Just amazing. And I would sit there watching television, and he would come up on the bed and sit on the pillow next to me with his paw around my shoulder, like,
so
hey,
sweet.
Hey, pal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really miss having a cat. I'd spent 2 years, and I really, really miss him.
Well, I miss having a cat, but then I figure at my age, he's going to live longer than me, and I don't want something looking at me going, you're going to be gone, but I'm still going to be here. I just...
I thought about it, and I had a friend in... Listen to this. A friend in San Francisco, and I know through the blog, and we'd been talking, and I talked about really missing having a cat, and the cat that she had recently died, and I got a note from her after our conversation saying, because I'm old and I'm sick, that it wouldn't be fair to get a cat, and who was going to take it, and and you'd feel bad about all that. She said she would drive up from San Francisco and get it. Is that an offer or what?
That is an offer. Of course.
Yeah.
And that cat, I got to say something. I love you, and I will love any cat that you have. However, that cat was not the most friendly cat I've ever had to deal with. Because you left him with me.
I left him with you to stay, when I had to go away, to stay with you that time, yes.
Yeah.
No, he was a little diffident. We could put it maybe that way. Standoffish.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah.
What the cat would do was would never come over and have anything to do with me unless I was doing some work at the computer. And then he was all over my legs and everything else. And then the minute
you were looking at something else other than him. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's a cat trait, not just him.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'll tell you. Well, Shabbos, which was my favorite cat I ever had, because I loved him. He was so zen, and she loves Shabbos as well. He was a terrific cat. And he didn't demand attention, although he would sit on top of the television set, and we couldn't figure out whether cats sat on top. This was the old days, not with the flat screens, but with the actual television sets. We couldn't figure out if they sat on top of the television set because that's where everybody was staring, or
it was also warm.
Also that it was warm. Yeah. So.
And their tail then would hang down.
Oh yeah, well it was like a window washer. You're back and forth in front of the screen.
Yes.
And I have to get up and move the cat so we could watch television. People don't remember those days, but today a cat couldn't sit on top of a television screen.
No, pretty hard.
Yeah. But I wonder if one cat says to another cat, "When I was a kitten."
Funny.
We had television sets we could sit on.
And they were warm.
So you've been just feeling. Yeah.
Oh, it's been a hard week. I had a meltdown on Monday. Because, I'm in hospice now. Did we talk about that?
No, but you don't look like it.
Well, people think you go in hospice 2 days before you die. That's not the time to do it. It's time to do it long before that.
Mm-hmm.
What it does, the difference between palliative care and hospice care is that with palliative care, although they take care of you in terms of comfort, you can also be treated in a way that might cure a disease or prolong your life.
Mm-hmm.
You stop all that when you go into hospice, and it's all comfort care. And I have the most amazing team. But this week, my God, they all came. I've got more. Another one coming tomorrow, Thursday. But yesterday was just I have a nurse, an RN who is also my case manager. I have a social worker. I have an aide for when I need personal care help, which I don't yet. But if I live long enough, I probably will.
Mm-hmm.
A social worker, and there's somebody else I'm leaving out. and yesterday, 3 of them came, and I live alone because of the pandemic. None of us have very many guests or anything, or go out much, and I was exhausted yesterday, just exhausted.
Really?
I was one after another. Plus, there were a couple of deliveries, and one of them was a pickup of some equipment. And I thought, well, how long does that take? You get the equipment and walk out of the house? Well, there was paperwork, and there was something else, and it took 15 or 20 minutes. And it was just, by the time the last person left in the afternoon, I was so wiped out, I got into bed at 4:30.
Mm-hmm. So in other words, you're not in a hospice. You are in hospice. No,
hospice is mostly done at home these days.
Oh, really? Okay.
There's hospice also in hospitals, nursing homes, and in freestanding hospices. Did you lose me?
No, I'm listening to you.
Okay. But most commonly at home. And they, when the first nurse came 2 weeks ago to do all of the orientation, she was here for 4 hours. But when we were just setting up the appointment, I assumed that I would have to go to their offices for all of this stuff we had to go through.
Mm-hmm.
No, from now on, we always come to you. That's just wonderful. That's just wonderful. Because my energy has disappeared. So much of my energy has disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
A very big thing, even for me to drive sometimes the short distance to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And it's just, and especially to drive somewhere I haven't been before and don't know the way and don't know what can go wrong. I'm just not very good at that anymore. than I was when I, a few years ago. So I'm very grateful. And then I had a problem with a prescription that I wrote about for Wednesday's Post. And the nurse who'd been here when we had the problem, later that day on her own time, she went home and spent 2 hours making phone calls and getting through all the bureaucracy and all the long times on hold that you go through and that sort of thing. And she called me in the evening and said, you should know within 3 days if you have been accepted for an extension of this discount for a certain drug that I can't afford without the discount. And the next morning, Tuesday morning, 9:00, it was a robot call. It wasn't a real person, but identified the company and said that the extension for my discount on the drug had been approved.
Yeah.
And I just lost it on Monday when she and I kept running into just intransigent people. One person who said, no, that didn't happen that way last year. Yes, it did. I was there. I know what happened. And she said, no, it doesn't happen that way. And she said that 2 or 3 times. And, you kind of get crazy in the head when somebody tells you that your red sweater is green.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like living with Trump every day in your life,
You know what I was thinking? God bless these people who work hospice, because
and all of the medical workers, all of them.
Yeah.
They're different from you and me.
Yeah. I mean, because it really is pretty terrific what they do.
It's amazing. And that's what I mean about, most of us choose some other kind of life. Nobody ever got rich working for a hospice or a hospital, or being a doctor or a nurse. Nobody ever, well, maybe the surgeons, but, nobody really gets rich in that. You do those kinds of work because you want to help people who can't help themselves.
Yeah.
And think about now, all the people that are in all of that enormous PPE in hospitals treating the people with the virus.
Yeah.
They get up, I think about this often. They get up in the morning and you yawn and you stretch. Okay, I got to get ready for work. And maybe I'll get the virus today. I've got to be careful. And you go through your morning routine and you still go to work every day and wrap yourself up in all that PPE and go there with all those infectious people because you believe in taking care of them. And they can't take care of themselves.
Yeah, I was thinking about the hospice people. I mean, really, when they're doing hospice for somebody, they know that person's life is
fading away.
Yes. And that they're at some point, no matter how much they get to know this person, are going to have to deal with them passing. Mm-hmm. That's got to be a difficult thing on them.
Every once in a while, I ask people like that about that, exactly your question. And they give varying answers about, but I got to know that person and I liked that person. They never told me they disliked somebody. There must be ones they dislike, but they do their work anyway.
I would wonder how much they involve themselves in people like yourself, knowing that their time here is limited and that if they get too emotionally involved, with that person, that they're going to have to go through grief.
I think they just do it, and they do go through the grief.
Bless them.
Yesterday, I think it was Tuesday, after that approval had come in later in the early afternoon, my nurse, who's my case manager, came by. And it was just, she was in the neighborhood and she'd done this wonderful thing for me. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, wanted to come by. And we ended up, we just talked for an hour and got to know each other, but we've only seen each other twice before briefly. And got to know each other better and had a wonderful time talking. And I must tell you something. She was born and raised in South Korea. Mm-hmm. And she speaks English with about this much of an accent, hardly any accent at all. Mm-hmm. And she came here in her teen years or going on college years, I think. And I asked her how she learned English because she speaks English to me, except for this teeny, teeny, tiny accent, like a native. And she said, this is the most wonderful thing. She grew up in her family that they all together every week watched Dallas, and that's how she learned English. And she said when she first came here, she thought that all Americans had big sprawling ranch houses, and she thought that women and housewives did the dishes and cooked the dinner and everything in dresses and high-heeled shoes.
Well, anyway, besides all of that, how's things in Oregon? Now, I looked at the map today that Cuomo puts up of the states that are the most affected, and Oregon seems to be not on that list. Okay.
Oregon numbers are increasing dramatically. However, we started way down here.
Yeah.
It had hardly been any. I think we had a week or two ago, there were only just over 100 deaths.
Yeah.
And now it's over 200. And it doesn't look like a Texas or a New York or Arizona, Florida, because we have far fewer people. And we seem to have been doing pretty well until this spike has been happening in a number of places.
Well, it doesn't seem to be overwhelming.
Right. I mean, it's lower in that we started so much lower.
But it doesn't seem like it's overwhelming the system there.
I don't think so yet.
Because in places like Texas, I mean, in one respect, I go, boy, those governors down there were just terrible, and now they're getting what they deserve. But unfortunately, so are the people of those states. I mean, it's sad, the attitude about this. They've turned a virus into a political issue.
Well, worse, it went further. I think we're in an apocalypse.
Oh, I don't disagree with you. I mean, if you were to draw up a science fiction movie, it would look pretty much like this.
Yes.
Yes. You go down to Broadway and look at Broadway. Just go online. There are like, cams that do Broadway. You look at it, it looks like a movie from an apocalypse.
Right. Yes, I remember. I've seen those photos. What bothered, just this week, or maybe it was last week, but very recently, the governor issued a mask edict for when you're out and about.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that most of the people I see, old people particularly, are not wearing them. It makes me nuts.
It makes me nuts.
What is it? Put a mask on.
It makes me nuts in this neighborhood when I walk down the street. And I would say, Marjorie says it's more like 40, 60% are wearing masks, 40 aren't. I say it's the other way. I tell you, I see about 75% of the people in this neighborhood not wearing masks. And of course, I live in a very predominantly black neighborhood. So the predominant amount of people not wearing masks are black. And I'm thinking, and you better not wear a Black Lives Matter t-shirt if you're not wearing a mask, because you're not doing the very thing that will help Black Lives Matter. Because that shouldn't just refer to whether somebody's being racist or not. It should also refer to your respect for them and their life.
Well, this all went wrong from the beginning because there were so many mixed messages. Dr. Fauci said in the beginning that masks don't do anything for you, it's only other people.
Mm-hmm.
And or maybe it was vice versa. There's so much information you can't confirm that it gets all mixed up. But in the beginning, it was iffy of whether wearing a mask was useful. Do you remember that period?
I remember that period.
Yes.
I don't remember it hearing.
And you never recover from that kind of thing. And now I guess it's mostly far-right political people have turned it into it's a hoax or it's a political thing. It means you don't like Donald Trump if you wear a mask and that sort of thing. The other thing that's going on that you can just plug into the apocalypse is it seems to me that every morning, I get up, I make the coffee, turn on the computer and look at the news. And every morning, Donald Trump has done something that will harm, maim, or kill somebody. yesterday that just put me around the bend was foreign college students here. If their college was only going to have long distance teaching, he was going to deport them unless they went to a college where they had in-person teaching. Well, a whole lot of those students, even if you bought the idea, which I don't, a whole lot of those students can't go home because their countries don't let anybody from America in to their countries now.
Or if you go in, you have to be quarantined.
No, you can. No,
oh,
you
really?
you're
No.
not. All of Europe, the European Union, you cannot go in if you're coming from America. And today there was some. Oh, today he says he's going to snatch away federal funding for schools, public schools that don't this fall who don't open the schools to in-person teaching. Younger.
Cuomo went on today and said legally he can't do that. Only the governors can decide what's going to go on in their state. That's by constitutional edict. And that he can't do that. He can't do that. He thinks he can do anything he wants to.
Well, I don't know that he can't withhold federal funds. I think he might be able to do that.
Here's what Cuomo said about that. He said, you already withhold federal funds. You don't pay us for this. You don't pay us for that.
I see. Okay.
You're making.
Is he back to doing his morning routine?
He does them every about maybe three times a week now.
Okay.
And we're still clean here. You're going to love this because you're a New Yorker, tried and true. Marjorie finally the other day decided to go into her office to pick up the mail, all right, which had been stacked up literally this high. And she went through all of it. And then she did a few things. And finally she had to come home. So she said, screw it. I'll try the subway. She took the subway. She said it was absolutely, where was I going with that? I saw no came
coming
up
home on the subway, Marjorie.
Oh, she went on the subway. So she went on the subway. She said it has never been so clean in her life.
Yeah, they clean them every night.
She said you wouldn't believe how clean they are. They're sparkling. They're and then everybody's sitting a distance from each other, and everybody's wearing masks. She says it may be the safest place to be.
Isn't that interesting? Because somebody I was talking to yesterday about how well New York has done in terms of bringing down the numbers from the virus.
Yeah.
And the thing that's amazing about it, you'll have to excuse the listeners, the watchers will have to forgive my language here. But New Yorkers, the original fuck you people. You want to tell me what to do?
Yeah,
fuck you.
Right.
They did it this time. They really did it.
And the famous saying
It's
is...
a remarkable thing what happened in New York.
The famous retort in New York is when you say to somebody, fuck you, they go, fuck you, fuck me, fuck you.
I mean, that's so New York.
Yeah.
But, given how New Yorkers normally behave, they did this right.
I'll tell you, I don't think...
Cuomo there every morning saying it over and over and over again. It worked.
I don't think that this was unusual for New Yorkers, because New Yorkers, once they have a task in front of them, roll up their sleeves and do it.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, and it's what he refers to every day as New York tough.
That Cuomo does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he also says, but we're also New York smart and New York loving,
Now imagine, Alex, if we had a president who had been behaving that way through all of this.
Well, every day I watch him and I say, I wish he were president. We'd be through this.
Well, whether
already.
him or not, just any person behave in the same way, we would, as a country, and individual states too, be an entirely different place with the virus. New York proves that.
Yeah. But it's it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing what we've done here in New York, and now we're having to keep people from other states from coming in, or if they do, they have to quarantine themselves for 14 days.
I've often wondered how that quarantine works. How is the 14 days in force? And if you're in a hotel, who's cleaning the hotel rooms afterwards? I would want to go.
Here's the thing.
That's-
The ways they're trying to get it is when you get off the plane, they make you sign a thing saying you acknowledge the fact that you have to be quarantined for 14 days. If they're in cars coming from out of state, you can tell by the license plate. And then there's some people that slip under the radar, you know. Hey, I just looked, you know, we've run out of time. And
fast.
and I love these chats with you. I have I don't know how long we've been doing them now, but
More than a year.
definitely more than a year. But I really just enjoy them, and of
We're
course,
both in red today. Did you see?
huh?
We're both in red today.
We are in red, aren't we? Oh, I didn't notice that. Yes, we are in red.
I wish I had a 1941.
Yeah, well, you can get them. They're on. I bought a whole bunch of these from Amazon. Anyway, Ronnie Bennett can be found at timegoesby.net. That's her blog, and she can be found here every couple of weeks. Thank you so much, Ronnie. Love you, dear.
Good to see you, Don.
Bye.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Yeah. I love Ronnie. I love having her around. For as long as we can have her around. I just, you know, I wish you were beating this thing, but it's not beatable. So in the meantime, you just go on living, and we go on enjoying each other's company. Anyway, listen, if you want to know how to call this program, it's very, very simple. You just simply click on our Zoom link. You can find it at gabnet.net over on the right-hand side of the page towards the bottom. And you can find it on my Facebook page, facebook.com/A Bennett. And let's see here. Also, you can find it. Where is it? Oh, yeah, it's right down here on the bottom. See there? It says during program you can Zoom us at blah 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 blah. Okay, I don't know who this is, but I'm going to take a chance on them anyway. Let me see here. Dell is of course, it's Vernon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Vernon. Let me go to our panel here. Hello, Vernon. How are you? Vernon Nunn. Are you there? Wait a minute. I can't hear you, Vernon. You don't have a mic on for some reason. And I've got everything up here. And let me see here. Let's see here if we can. We'll put on Jeff Stein and make sure see if he's talking okay. Hello, Jeff. Can you hear me? Well, Jeff is connecting his audio. Yeah, Jeff's there. So you're not putting through some audio there.
Hey guys.
Vernon. And here comes Charlie, and here comes Rob, and here comes Brian, and Zoom Bomber.
How about this?
Yeah. Okay. Now you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, I just switched microphones.
Okay. Well, turn it down just a little bit because it's a little on the hot side. Okay. Here comes Zoom Bomber. I'm betting that this is. I don't have Zoom Bomber on. Goodbye.
Yeah. You had your chance.
Yeah. Gee, almighty. How are you all? Good to see you. What I love about Zoom is boom, boom, boom. You're all on. You know, nothing difficult. So I'm
It's
drinking.
my level now.
Oh, it's better, much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had it on automatic. I switched it and
As long as
dialed it down.
As long as it's louder than Phil.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm drinking tea tonight. I've decided that the reason maybe I'm hoarse and is I drink coffee about 2 times a day, and I think maybe the coffee is not good for my throat lately.
Charlie, what's your shirt say?
Science!
Oh. Science. Yes.
Science true?
Science is true whether you believe it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I love him. Yeah,
That's a great statement. I love that, and it's so apropos of what's going on now. Let me turn my mic up a little bit. I don't sound hoarse, do I? Nah. Okay.
Sound fine.
Okay, fine. Have to clear my throat every now and then, but that's why I'm having the tea. So, how y'all doing tonight? Vernon, we haven't seen you in a while. You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. This is my first time on Zoom, I think, with you.
Yeah, it works great. I can't complain about it. We haven't really had any problems with it, have we, guys? To speak of.
Other than the Zoom bombers,
Yeah, well, the Zoom bombers.
And it looks like I changed my name to Dell.
Yeah, well, that's probably the name of your computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can change that, by the way. You can rename it. In fact, I could probably rename you, actually. And then let me see here. And you haven't been around in a while, so good to have you here. Phil's going through the same radiation therapy you went through many years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
reoccurrence.
What week is this?
This is week 5. Tomorrow and Friday we'll complete week 5, and then I'll have 2 more weeks after that.
Do they give you a little diploma after it's over with?
What I've noticed is that there's this bell in the hallway, and when people have their last radiation treatment, they ring the bell. And since I get there at 7:30 in the morning, people have their last. They'll need the bell.
Yeah. Oh, since you don't need the bell.
No, it's I'd rather have some peace and quiet.
Yeah. Well, I thought I said to them, I said I'm going to be through with mine. What do we do when I finish it? And they say, oh, we give you a diploma.
Yeah.
Well, I never saw a diploma. They were putting me on.
Yeah, I guess they were.
So, anyway, but it's pretty easy to get through, right, Phil? You're not feeling.
No, I get a little tired by the afternoon, but that's because I've been getting up at 4 in the morning. I've got to prep, what
do you mean prep?
Well, you got to poop, because if you don't poop, and I've been constipated, the radiation can damage your bowels, and then you've got to drink the water, and you've got to be fully hydrated when you drink the water, otherwise it won't get to the bladder.
Did you have to go through that, Vernon? The water thing?
Not that I recall. No.
Yeah.
Speaking of prep, did you hear from Tony?
Yeah, once he said something about the stuff didn't taste good, so I think that was early on. I'm sure he's not bringing his laptop into the bathroom.
Yeah, he says he's flowing very well.
Well, no, they have citric nitrate, or I think it's called citric nitrate, and that's what I do whenever I'm supposed to do the cleaning out before a colonoscopy.
Yeah.
You did the same thing, right, Charlie?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
the last 2 I did.
Yeah, you just pour it into a glass.
The first one I had to go through Tony.
I put it on ice, chill it a bit. I like my
vodka.
No vodka. But then I just put it.
Nice and clear.
I just put it in a glass and just chug the whole thing down in one gulp, and it's fine until, of course, a couple hours later when what should be staying in keeps coming out. You know what you worry about in that prep is that they tell you also to do it the next morning as well, just before you come in, about 3 hours before you come in, and you go, I just hope that it's through doing whatever it's going to do before I get in, the lift car and poop all over his back seat.
Now, you don't eat anything prior to going in, so there may be nothing left.
Yeah.
Well, no, you don't eat.
There's still more stuff. Wow.
Yeah, but all I had to do with mine was I had to do the water every time, because they had to, for some reason, the bladder had to be full so it would push the prostate or something in a certain way so that it could be radiated just right.
Yeah.
But I went through a different situation than you. I went through what is this? They call it the cyber knife, but that's.
Well, my thing is the Varian Linear Accelerator True Beam. They say that's one of them. There's a couple different deals, and they say that this and the other one, they're very advanced and new technology.
Yeah, but if it's still taking 7 weeks, it ain't that new.
Well, it's at least 5 weeks old.
The cyber knife, or it's called stereotactic, is what it is.
This is stereotactic also. They're all stereotactic.
No,
say.
stereotactic is a very focused beam.
That's what this is.
And they're doing that many? They only do 5.
Well, for you, maybe because they could focus on the prostate. On me, I don't have a prostate, so they're focusing on the margins or the areas around the prostate, and they couldn't see any cancer because they only got a detectable PSA.
Couldn't you say to them, listen, give me a call when you can see it?
I'd rather them just barrage the area and not harm the bowel or the what do you call it, the bladder, and get rid of it, because the alternative to that will be hormones for as long as I live.
By the way, I have a fun thing that happened. I've been talking about how bad they've been about my numbers and statistics on what do you call it? YouTube. And so I wrote them and I complained and I said, how could I have lost 60 people in one night? And in the meantime, I've been asking people to sign up like crazy. And here comes Tony, by the way. And so I just went here tonight, and now I'm up to 1,136. So I got all the people that joined, plus the ones that I had, and now I got 1,136. So.
Oh, wow.
What the hell? Embarrassment of riches. So I don't hate YouTube today. I'll hate them tomorrow.
When you get to 100,000, they give you another award, don't they?
What?
I know my friend who has 600,000.
I don't want to hear about your friend with 600,000 subscribers.
They get a plaque, at 100 and 500 and
$5 plaque.
Well, I have a lot of plaque, and I go to the dentist twice a year, and they scrape it off.
I have tons of awards, and they're all like $4 awards.
Right. Yeah. Take your plaque and tell him to take his plaque and shove it.
Yeah. Well, also they get monetized, and they're making some money, not a lot, but
yeah.
some.
Well,
Less and less every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I so far I think I've made $70.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they don't pay me until I make 100.
Wow.
So
I'm sure you'll share it with the other host.
I certainly, I'll spread the riches around.
It'll pay for 2 months of Zoom subscription.
Yeah. Anyway, also Rob, how are you tonight?
Good, thank you. How about you?
I'm fine. I've just been having this thing, and it comes and goes. And as long as it comes and goes, I figure it's not anything serious. It would be getting worse and worse and worse and worse. But it's like, I think it's maybe from drinking coffee too much, and that it's kind of like, because I feel it right in here.
Do you put milk in the coffee? Maybe
No.
it's the phlegm from.
No.
They say dairy products, too much dairy will give you.
No, I don't do that.
Alex?
Yes. What, Phil?
I have a friend that lives in Florida.
And he's got 10,000 subscribers.
No, he suggested, he was listening to the show.
Oh.
And he suggested that you might look to see if there's a mold source in the apartment, and possibly that might be causing.
Well, I've heard about that, and we've thought about looking into it, but you got to hire somebody to come in and check for the mold and all of that.
Maybe the super can do a cursory.
I am sure if you could find mold in any building in New York, this building, which is 120 years old, has got to have some mold in it.
Well, if that's the case, you can treat it with bleach or something.
But then why am I just having this problem in the last month or so?
Maybe there's some mold growth in the last month.
Oh, I have to look at
It's hotter now. You need 3 things for mold. You need heat.
Yeah.
You need calcium, and you need water. And with those 3 things, you'll get mold.
Well, we don't have water, and we don't have calcium, and we
know that you don't have a leak in a pipe or something.
Phil, is the expert on everything, ladies and gentlemen.
Floors, mold,
Hey,
and stuff
if you've
like
got
that
if
is
you've
what I
got some
do.
kind of medical problem, call up tonight. Phil will solve it for you.
Well, it relates back to flooring.
It doesn't relate back. You can only relate. You can't relate back.
All right, I relate to flooring because I have to deal with mold in people's floors and things. You know, I do a lot of work for insurance companies where there's a water loss, so I have to be aware of those things, and I can't cover it up.
Yeah, well, I don't know what this is, but all I know is I come in here and I do the show, and I feel better. And I think maybe the air conditioner in here or something is cleaning the air for me. But I'm hoarse again tonight. So I don't know.
Do you find that another air conditioned room is where you feel the discomfort?
Yeah.
That air conditioner could, because there's water and from the air conditioner, and it's hot, and there's other things. Maybe that's blowing some sort of mold spores into the room.
Oh yeah, sure.
Well,
Anyway, you know, all I know is it's something I got to go out more. That's what I got to do. And every day I say I'm going to go out, and then I look at the temperature and it says 90 degrees, and I go, well, fuck that.
In the morning.
Huh?
Yeah, 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning.
Wait a minute. What time of day did you say?
Around 7, 8 o'clock in the
What?
morning. Have a cup of coffee and go.
What?
Yeah.
What? I haven't.
I've already worked 3 hours.
What do you think I am? A farmer? Come on.
I'm up at like 6. The sun's out.
I haven't seen 6, 8 o'clock. Well, I do see 8 o'clock in the morning occasionally, but it's because I have to get up to pee. Okay, but that's it.
Okay, get up, pee, go for a walk.
Then what I do, here's the latest thing I've been doing. So I haven't taken any kind of pill to put me to sleep for like 3 weeks. And so I have no problem getting to sleep at night now, right? But then about 6 o'clock in the morning, I get this urge to pee because, you know, that's what happens when you're older or have had your prostate punctured like it was a needle thing.
Cushion.
Pin cushion. Then I go to the bathroom, but then I have a little trouble getting back to sleep. So I go into the kitchen where we have a vape, and I take a vape of pot, and just enough, just one, puts me back to sleep. Then I get up again around 8 o'clock. I need to go back to sleep after going to the bathroom. I do the vape again. The trouble is, every time I do the vape, it's good for another 3 hours, so I sleep like 9 hours now. Yes, Howard.
Aha! Maybe that's what's giving you the sore throat.
Well, it isn't a sore throat. It's not a sore throat.
But
It's like
Are you drinking water after you hit your vape?
Oh, well, I do. Yeah, I do take some soda. Take some.
Okay, as long as you get hit chasing it with some water, that should help.
Yeah. No, because I don't. I do. Take some tea, some iced tea, some Snapple or whatever, because it does kind of make your throat feel a little rough. So, what are you having there? What is your beverage?
It is iced tea. It's Good Earth iced tea.
Oh, really?
Spiced iced tea.
Oh, okay. Well, this is just Twinings.
Oh,
What's that?
Tony had to go to the bathroom.
What?
Oh.
Another reason that
Tony had to go to the bathroom already.
Tony? You don't have to go to the bathroom after. You know.
He's drinking this stuff.
I want to find out from him because, he was such a coward about the whole thing. He didn't realize that it's pretty damn simple, And after you've gone through what I've gone through, you see, this prep you do for the colonoscopy, it's the same prep you do, for instance, when I had my pincushion operation, okay, where they put in the seeds in my prostate. And in that case, I had to do another operation beforehand in which they put a spacer between my prostate and my rectum so my rectum wouldn't get radiated. Did they do that to you at all? They did that to you, Vernon. But they didn't do it to Phil.
5 days a week, 9 weeks.
Yeah, but did they also have an operation where they put a spacer in there between
They
your
did
rectum
that
and
each
your
time they
prostate?
treated me. They put that little spacer in there.
Oh,
It was
really?
like a little balloon that they inflated.
Oh, well, this is instead of the balloon now, they've got, you have to go in and they put you under, but they put in this gel that separates it. So, and that's good for about 3 months, and then it dissipates and comes out in your pee. Very expensive pee.
What color was it?
I have no idea.
No, the pee.
Same color. They color it so it looks like pee. Okay, Phil. Hey, listen, Tony. How's your ass doing?
Right now.
Huh?
I did it at 10 to 5, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't too bad." It was bad news when I drank it fast though.
Next time, tell them you want the citric nitrate, I think it's called. Or
You know what I had to drink? I had to drink 32 ounces of water then in the next hour. So I knocked it off in like 15, 20 minutes. So I went. It just started like I got the urge to go. So I had to run downstairs because my mother was in the bathroom after dinner because they had Chinese food today in front of me. It was horrible.
Wait a minute. He's improving. It was called Chinese food this time.
I didn't know-
Only when he doesn't.
You're right.
Yeah.
All changes.
Just in case I get a Chinese doctor tomorrow.
If you're able to change, there's hope for Phil.
There is. I don't know about that, but he's got a lot of pent-up frustration. But it was bad. It tastes horrible.
No, but you see, you didn't. Next time, and there will be a next time.
One more at 12 o'clock. Yeah, I have another bottle in there.
Oh, you haven't done. You haven't done. You haven't done.
I got to take the second one at midnight.
Oh, you haven't done the colonoscopy yet.
No, I didn't. Mom, I'm you.
She's doing the prep. Hey, Tony, is it lemon flavored?
No, I got one more bottle.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Stay there, everybody. I got to go find something here.
This one I finished. It's empty. And I got one more left for midnight. It's horrible.
The stuff I had was like a powder, and you had to add like I thought it was like seemed like a gallon of water.
Yeah, this one is smaller.
This is okay. I got the name of it. You tell your doctor next time you don't want that stuff they're giving you. You want this. This is.
What is that? That looks like salsa.
Yeah, it's called magnesium citrate oral solution. Tell them you want the magnesium citrate. You get 2 bottles of these. You can get them in different flavors. They come in strawberry and orange and tutti frutti. I don't know, whole bunch of flavors. And you just put this a little in the refrigerator, let it get good and cold, and then throw it in a glass. And chug-a-lug it, right? That's what you did, Charlie. And then later, then the next morning, you do it one more time. That's all you've got to do. That's all you've got to drink.
Those gallons, yeah.
I got to do 2 drinks. I got one more to do.
Yeah, but you've got that stuff where that gruel.
It's bad.
That they make you.
I just mixed it up and I drank it real quick. And then you know what hurt me more? That 32 ounces of water. I felt like a fucking balloon.
I don't know about that part of it.
Did you have to drink water? I have to drink 32 ounces of water with
no.
So you doesn't get dehydrated.
I do this, and then also before I go to bed, I take 2 laxative pills, and then when I wake up in the morning, I take another one of these, and in between the 2, I'm pretty clean inside.
Off to the bathroom again.
I gotta drink.
Gee, we've actually been gaining audience while we've been talking about how to shit your brains out. Did you ever have a colonoscopy, Rob, yet?
No.
No?
It's coming.
No.
I'm surprised.
Why don't you want?
I did my first one at 48.
No, just because I don't want it.
Why don't you want? Oh! Why don't you?
Okay.
Why don't you want it?
Because it's ridiculous. If you don't have it in your family,
you never got a colonoscopy?
You use that.
if you don't have it in your family, it's just something that they get paid. Money. If you have a high risk of it in your family, I get it.
Do you do that?
That's what my doctor said too.
So why don't we get every test available to man for cancer if that's the case?
Yeah.
I just don't. I just.
Rob, do you do that yearly fit test where you take some poop and you wipe it on a thing?
Cobra-Gone. I was going to.
No, in a container and they send it in.
No,
that's the one I do. That's the one I do.
That's what.
How does that thing work?
but I'm going.
I hear that there are too many false positives in that, and that's why I won't do it.
Really?
Because I'll obsess over it.
What
and
false
it's just
positive? False positives in what?
for the Cologuard?
The Cologuard. Cologuard is,
What is that?
you know, I mean,
It's where you've seen the commercial for it.
You put the poo in the box and you mail it?
Yeah, and
yeah, you send your
it off.
shit through the mail.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
Probably in a Ziploc.
Kaiser gives us one. It's not Cologuard, but it's the same type of deal where you got to put in this little hazardous bag. But just like Rob, my doctor. So I asked him, because I took that one 3 years in a row, and I asked him. I said, all my friends are returning 50. They're doing the colonoscopy, and I said, why are you not doing that for me? He says, well, you don't have that. You have more heart conditions, because I have heart conditions in my family. And he says, if you want to do that, we can do that, but the yearly is sufficient for how your family has been. So same thing as like Rob saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've had some polyps, you know, after I had it. And have you had it, Phil? Have you had a colonoscopy? By the way, yeah.
I was just contacted to get a hold of them to set it up, but I'm going to do it after the radiation.
Yeah, don't do it all at the same time. You know, what you do is you get a colonoscopy, an endoscopy, and a cystoscopy. And you have all the doctors in the room at the same time. They put you out, and then they all go in the various parts of you, the penis, the ass, the whatever. And then as an added surprise, since they're filming the whole thing, you know, they can film the whole thing. They should film it, and we can see if they can see each other.
That movie Saw, where they always have those weird things. That's what they should do in Saw. Saw 10, the guy's leaped up there and the camera's going in.
Well, who in Guantanamo? Who was it? Sheikh Khalid or whatever his name was. That they waterboarded like 50 times, and by the 50th time he was showing up with like sunscreen. You know, I mean, he was so used to it. I figured that what they should have done for him, since they had a very good medical facility at Guantanamo, is just give him a colonoscopy and a cystoscopy, and but just don't put him out.
Yeah.
Waterboard him.
Sigmoidoscopy. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah.
I signed up for mine at 50.
You signed up for
Right around 50-ish.
For what?
Yeah.
For the colonoscopy, because my dad never got a colonoscopy and died of colon cancer.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because you didn't, Phil, Rob, just because you didn't have it in your family.
I'll take the risk.
Okay.
Hey, Rob,
that's fine.
I don't have it in my
I don't even want
family.
to talk about it. Excuse me?
I've had to have 3 because I get really bad, like precancerous polyps. I usually get like 6 to 10 of them. So I've had 3 of them, and I don't have it in my family. I'm just telling you.
Well, that's
I'm glad.
fine.
I'm so glad I went. It's
my-
not bad. You don't even know. You don't even. You're
Well,
asleep.
the good thing about it is that if let's say they find a precancerous polyp, my doctor said if we find one, I said, well, okay, so then you cut it out of me, right? And he said, right. I said, how long before another one could grow and be dangerous? He said, if one started growing tomorrow, it'd be 10 years before it was dangerous. So really what you're doing is you're staying ahead of the game. That's the reason you do it. I don't mind, you know, I mean, I did it, and the first time, and I wondered what was going to go on, and it was so, except for the prep is the worst part of it.
The prep, yeah, is horrible.
I'm really worried about getting knocked out, Alex. That's what scares me, because I never was put under before.
Well, I had that fear too. Don't worry about it. You won't know you've been put out.
That's
They
what
don't put you all the
You won't
way either.
remember
It's not like
anything.
Well, you.
I woke up in the middle of my first one and watched part of it.
Really? I don't want to wake
Dude, I
up.
watched it.
Yeah.
Sigmoidoscopy.
Well, I'll tell you what
or-
I-
No, it was a colonoscopy, and I woke up and they just they said, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." I wanted to watch it. And I remember saying, "Oh shit, that hurts," but then I don't remember the pain. All I remember is saying it.
Tell you,
so
the
weird.
prostate seeds. They didn't give me. They didn't put me out. They didn't give me the propofol or whatever. I said, "Aren't you going to put me out?" And he went, "No, we're going to do a spinal." in which they, I don't know, go into your back and they shoot you up with some stuff.
Epidural.
Well, it's called a spine. It's a spinal epidural. Yeah.
This is Spinal Tap.
And it numbs everything from your waist down. And I told Patrick, now I know what it's like to be you. You know, really, because you don't feel. There's nothing. Forget it. But I said, but I'm going to know what's going on. He said, yeah, but I'm going to give you so much happy juice that you won't care. And so he loaded me up with liquid Valium. And I swear it was as good as if he had put me out. The only difference being that he didn't, and I had some kind of awareness of what was going on, which I've never had before because they've always put me out. So I'm lying there, and I'm in La La Land, but I'm hearing them talk to each other. And I finally heard what doctors talk to each other about, the anesthesiologist and my doctor and so on. And it's something like this. So where are you going this weekend? Oh, I don't know. I think we're going to go to the shore. Hey, that sounds great. You know, my wife and I, we're thinking of going out to dinner. Yeah. And just all these conversations that they're having back and forth, because you don't think he's doing that and going, I've got to be very careful with where I'm putting this, you know.
I don't want to be the wrong
yes, Vernon.
Oh God, they're gonna be talking.
Rob, I know you don't want to worry about it, but I didn't either until my GP suggested one. And when I had the first one done, they found one polyp. So he said, okay, you know, we'll wait 5 years before we do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 years later, they found 6.
Hmm.
So they said, oh, well, we need to check you again in 3
Something's
years.
going to get you sometime or another.
In 3 years, we went back in, they found 6. Whoa, well, you know, you're a polyp maker. So 3 years later, they go back in, they found 1.
Yeah.
So
It's
now
such
we're
a
back to
non-event.
5 years.
You're
So
back
now
to
we're
the
5 years before I get checked again.
I don't have to go back because he told me, he said, even if one starts growing tomorrow, you'll be dead before it gets bad. At your age. And I went, oh, that's one of the perks.
Thanks, Sean.
Jesus.
That's one of the perks. Yeah.
I tell you what I think reduced the number of polyps. I can't scientifically prove this, but after getting 6 2 times in a row, I started taking fiber caplets on a regular basis, on a daily basis.
Well,
I started
fiber
taking
would probably
fiber
help.
caplets.
Might
Well, after I started doing the fiber caplets, and then I had my colonoscopy, I only had 1.
Yeah.
So I think I had a lot to do with it.
I only had 1 this last time, and I think the reason for it was Trump, because he gets me so mad, my ass clenches a lot, and that has kind of, I think, prevented me from having more polyps.
They abort. They self-abort.
They abort. Yeah.
It's like,
Well, then you need to worry about diverticulitis.
oh yeah.
Oh
My
yeah.
wife-
Well, I have diverticulitis, but they didn't have to do anything about it. They they said once you have your 3rd attack in 3 years, then we'll do something about it. But and I had 2 attacks, and that was about it. You know. So, but anyway, let's see here. Our president apparently doesn't know what he's able to do or not do according to the Constitution.
Yeah, he's going to open schools on his own.
Well, he said that he is going to prevent schools. Well, a couple of things. Number one, he says all schools must open in the fall. My proclamation. Well, he can't do that because it is Phil, can you let me? You don't even know what I'm going to finish saying.
Yeah, but I'll tell you why you can do it when you're ready.
He can't do it, Phil. The Constitution forbids him from doing it. This is something only the governors can do, okay, of the individual states, by the Constitution. Secondly, in the immortal words of Cuomo today, who said, and then he said, all states that don't abide by this aren't going to get any kind of funding from us. He says, we're not getting funding from you now. You stopped all the funding. That's not any kind of threat.
I believe that the foreign students are here on a student visa.
We're not talking about foreign students, Phil.
Well, that's what he was talking
No,
about.
he wasn't. He
No,
was
he
talking
wasn't.
about high schools and grade
grade
schools.
He wants them open, but he can't do anything about that. But at universities,
Phil,
the universities are talking about having one credit class that these kids can attend so that they qualify for in credit classes, and they can circumvent what Trump came out with, which was to tell ICE and Immigration Service to since they're not attending classes, you can
don't even listen.
them.
That's not even what Alex was talking about. You're completely bringing up a completely different
Yes,
subject.
but no,
has nothing to do with what Alex just said.
Of course, because what he's doing is he's using that as a pressure to get the governors to open the schools.
In other words, he's being the bully that he normally is.
I don't know if he's being the bully, but what he's doing is he's using that as a wedge to accomplish what he wants to do with schools.
What's he accomplishing? He's just making himself look
He's
foolish again.
He's trying to put pressure on.
And he's going to make himself look
He's an
foolish
idiot.
again, even if he succeeds.
Trying to kill our
He's
kids.
an idiot. And he's
But
going to kill my kids. Fuck him.
The pressure that he's going to do.
This is what he has in his quiver in order to
try to get reelected.
Fuck him.
That's
in
all
order
that
to do
matters
what
is
it
his
is he
reelection
wants to do.
bid. He doesn't give a damn about anything else.
The only time he ever
Himself.
quivered was when he heard they were going to draft
Otherwise,
him.
why would he really care if the schools were open or not?
Because you can't open the economy when the schools are closed.
And why does he care so much about the economy being open? Because he wants to be
get
reelected.
reelected.
Ah,
Well, that's
so
no
more
reason. That's
important
no
than everything
reason
else.
to do bad medicine, Phil.
Yeah.
He also feels, based on the science, that the young kids aren't as susceptible to the COVID.
That's what he feels.
And
Phil, ask any parent, including yourself.
They can
and-
still be carriers.
How many here? How many here have been parents? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When your kids were going to school, how many times did they bring back colds?
Millions.
yeah, a few times, and lice.
Yes, yeah. So maybe they don't get it, but they can carry it.
He doesn't
They gotta
care.
wash their hair
Wait
with
a minute. Let Rob talk. What, Rob?
That's it. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about you or anybody else but himself. That's all he
And
cares
remember,
about.
and remember the age group that was hitting in March and April, right?
The what?
Everybody's 65. Remember the age group that everybody was worried about before?
Mhm.
Now it's coming down. I mean, what happens if this continues to come down? They don't know.
They're finding a lot of 40-year-olds. We had a 41-year-old die the other day, this
Yeah.
Broadway guy.
Yeah. 35 to 40 now.
And they're finding that younger people are dying of this. If they don't die of it, they get a flu that they'll remember for the rest of their lives. And they're not even sure what this flu does in the aftermath. There's some people say 6 months later, they're going to still be feeling stuff,
They're the silent spreaders. They're the silent
Yeah.
spreaders.
Yeah.
There's a
They
story
can
out
have
there about
permanent
it.
organ
Yep.
damage too.
Yep.
This
Kidneys,
Broadway guy went through
lung.
hell.
Yeah.
I think they
I mean, he had-
amputated his leg, didn't they?
Yeah, they amputated his leg. He had pneumonia. He went into a coma. It was horrible. 3 months
And
of hell.
also, and what about the teachers?
Yeah. What
How are
about
the kids going to teach with no teachers?
Yeah.
That's
They're the spreaders. They're going to give them to the teachers.
Well, that's an interesting point, and that's what the teachers are saying, is that they don't want the schools to reopen because they're afraid for their health, even though the kids may not get it.
Right.
So that's where it's at. I'm not being committal one way or
But
another.
I don't know where Donald Trump ever got his medical degree, because he doesn't know shit. He really doesn't, and he won't listen to the people who do know shit.
Yeah.
But
Today on the lawn, he was bad.
And by the way,
Fauci,
I mentioned
literally.
shit, Tony, but just try to hold it in, okay? Go ahead.
Ray was saying what I was saying last night, right? Ray about Fauci. Trump's against Fauci now, really bad.
Yeah,
Oh,
'cause
he was
he's-
dead. He was
you-
dead.
you
bad
can't
mouthing.
say anything.
Absolutely trashing him yesterday.
You can't
Yep.
say anything that goes against what's good for him.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to hear it.
I asked Siri, what is the science of COVID? And it basically came back and said that there are 4,000 papers on COVID just this week that were developed, and that
Trump hasn't read one.
They're all over the place.
Phil, they can be all
Okay,
over the place.
that's
I'll
it.
give you a little statistic that they don't have to do a big thing about. And who left us?
Ray.
Oh, Ray. I guess he'll come back. And that is the amount of people who are dead. Okay, over 130,000 people dead. That's the statistic you got to pay attention to, Phil. That's the science he should be paying attention to. It's the science he should be ashamed of. Okay, but you can say anything you want to about there are 20,000 different opinions about what causes this. There's only one opinion about what these people died of. Okay, 130,000 so far, and they're saying if Trump doesn't start getting America to wear masks by just wearing one himself and saying, I've decided it's a good idea, he is going to add 50,000 people by October to the death rolls.
Isn't it the governors that are saying that the masks are mandatory? That's what they're doing in California.
Finally, but
But
just
that
last
doesn't
week.
mean anything, right?
Well,
it doesn't
no,
mean anything. You
how
can't
could-
mandate it.
Okay, what percentage of the American public are Trump followers right now, Phil? Give me your overbloated estimate.
38%.
38%. Okay, those 38% are not going to wear a mask if he doesn't wear a
That's
mask.
not true. I follow Trump, and I wear a mask. Matter of fact, I just bought 50 today at the paint store.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind?
So, the surgical ones, so I can hand them out at my store when customers come in. I can offer them a free, a fresh mask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you refuse customers who don't wear one?
I haven't had any that didn't. I haven't had to do that.
Would you?
I'll wear it, and not necessarily.
Charlie,
Yes.
you're in Texas. Boy, are you
Unfortunately-
dying like flies there.
Don't even leave the house.
20,000 cases in the last 2 days.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow. Now, I suppose, and you're in Austin, which I think is the hot zone, isn't it?
Hospitals are 100% full.
Yeah.
What's the age group that is going in for hospitalization now? Is it the 20 to 40, or is it still the 60?
I haven't seen any stats like that.
I think Brian will agree with me on this one, that it doesn't really matter your age. If you go into the hospital, you didn't go into the hospital because you needed a rest, as Cuomo said today.
Yeah,
You
you
went
have
in
symptoms.
because you had symptoms and you were not feeling well and you wanted to be taken care of. So it doesn't matter what the age group is.
But it is getting younger. It is getting a lot younger. They're saying.
Did they say how many?
You
in the
want to know why
hospital?
it's getting younger, Brian? I'll tell you why it's getting younger. For the reason why so far I haven't got it. I haven't left the house.
Right.
Charlie
You're
hasn't
gonna-
left the house.
The younger
I
people
know
are taking the chances.
the younger
pool
people,
parties.
younger people are taking the chances, and they're being stupid.
And they're seeing a spike now in Tulsa after the
Yeah.
president's.
2 weeks after the
Yeah, you asked that question the other day, Phil, about, gee, were there any cases after the Tulsa speech? Yes.
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 Having them now.
But if you're homeless or you're rioting, they don't get COVID.
How would you know?
What does that have to do with what we just said, Phil?
You said because the Trump thing in Tulsa.
You asked the other day. You said, "Well, there haven't been any cases of COVID from that speech he gave." Yes,
Yeah.
there have been.
All right. It's,
We needed to
they,
get the
they
2
were
weeks.
saying today that the media is ignoring the COVID cases from those that rioted, and
No, they're not.
they are.
No, they're not, Phil. No,
And-
they're not. No, as a matter of fact, Cuomo has said he has had concern about the people who protested. That he certainly is with the protesters, but he worries about the contagion that it might cause. What they're finding is that in New York, they wore masks, a lot of them.
before masks.
They wore masks. They didn't necessarily socially distance, but the reason you wear a mask is because you might not be socially distant. If you're going to be socially distant, you don't even need the mask. and that they were outdoors, in which the spread is different outdoors than it is in an enclosed like restaurant or whatever, and so they found that our numbers are like have gone up a little bit, just a couple of tenths of a point, but so far those demonstrations haven't proved to be lethal. Now, what we're worried about is what's been going on out in Fire Island, especially out in the Pines, where all the gay guys just can't, they didn't remember how they got AIDS.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're being just absolutely ridiculous out there, and he's worried about that. And when they find a hot spot, they found a hot spot in New Jersey, and it was caused by some people who came up from one of the contagious states to go to a wedding. So these are the kind of things that are causing it. But the demonstrators really, the contagion from that is almost negligible. But with the Trump rally, it was indoors.
All his rallies since have been outdoors.
Yes.
But when where it started in New York was up in Westchester. It was that
New Rochelle.
New Rochelle.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still a hot spot?
No, it has been a hot spot in 3-4 months since it died as a hot spot once they realized it was a hot spot. It was the first hot spot. Yeah.
They
the
National Guard in there.
The very first hot spot was Washington, in that nursing home in Washington.
Yeah, Washington State, yeah.
Yeah, but our hot spots were, you got to realize, the COVID we got in New York is different than the COVID they got in Washington.
Yeah.
I understand that COVID is coming now to California. That it's the New York or the European strain that is not reinfecting, but infecting others.
Well, that's because your president didn't close the borders here to Europe a month and a half earlier. When he closed off China, he should have closed off Europe too, because and Europe was starting to get cases, and he didn't close it down.
You heard where Mexico is closing their borders because of the infection rate in the
yes,
U.S.?
They're building a wall.
Very happy for the wall.
Treaty today.
They may pay for a wall after all to keep us out.
Obrador had great things to say about Trump during the treaty signing in the White House.
No, wonderful. That's good. Good. I'm glad we have Mexico's blessings. How about the guy in Brazil? How about the president of Brazil?
Yeah, he's positive. Yeah.
The
Atlanta mayor is too, right? Bottoms?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Atlanta mayor. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, this guy was the real idiot. He was a big idiot, as Trump is about this, and he's come down with it. He's been good. I hope he gets real sick so he can see the misery he inflicted on the rest of his country. Yes, Jeff.
Yes.
I heard today, talking to people in Arizona, and then looking on TV, that Arizona is becoming like 25% of the people in a certain...
Arizona has hit a higher peak in total
Than
COVID
anywhere
patients, higher than New York ever was.
Was that because of the farm workers and migrant workers?
No, it's because of stupid Arizonans and their governor.
Because the governor did not require mask when you're indoors. And Trump had a rally in Arizona, Phil. You said Tucson was the only one. He went to a religious organization in, I think, Phoenix.
Indoors, in Phoenix.
Indoors. All young people, nobody wearing masks.
Brilliant.
Here's the thing, too. I'll tell you what happened here in New York. And again, I have a great deal of love for Cuomo because I think he helped save my life. While at the same time I feel Trump's trying to kill me. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that it was a very unpopular thing for a governor, guy who's elected to office, to close down businesses. But as soon as he saw what was happening, there was no question in his mind what he had to do. Politics be damned. His future
Same
be
thing
damned.
in Kentucky.
And
Same
he
thing in
closed
Kentucky.
it. He closed it all down. And just recently, he said, "I'm not reopening the restaurants yet, the indoor dining, because he says it's a big problem."
Restaurants in my area in Walnut Creek are like Prima Restaurant. 43 years they were in business. They just closed. And there's a number of restaurants that were landmark restaurants that are.
It's going to happen to a lot of them, but that's what we had to do. I mean, what you have to do, Phil, is you have to weigh commerce against lives, and when you use that as your touchstone, you got to go for saving lives before you go for saving businesses.
If that's the case, why isn't Walmart, Home Depot, and Lowe's closed? How can they be open? How can abortion clinics be open, but stores or
why'd you bring up
restaurants-
Walmart's, Costco, and abortion clinics? How do those all come together?
Oh, and also liquor stores and
Churches.
marijuana dispensaries. Those can be open, but
Well, go ask your governor about that. We don't have the same situation here in New York. Yes, Jeff has his hand up.
Listen, I get stuff from Costco all the time. I haven't been there for 6 months.
Me neither.
My wife doesn't go there. Nobody goes there. But there are people
Instacart.
who
You use Instacart.
deliver the stuff for us.
I had a delivery
They
today.
drop it outside.
I could
Which
speak
now
firsthand for Home
Washington-
Depot.
What?
Yeah.
I could speak firsthand for Home Depot. Okay.
Go
When
ahead.
this first hit back in April, we started limiting the number of customers in the store at any point in time. They had apps on smartphones, and they had one entrance and one exit, and they had an employee standing at both of them, and they had an interactive app that told how many people were in the store at any point in time.
Yep.
That has since been relaxed, but they don't reject you. They don't keep you from coming in if you don't have a mask on,
Vernon,
but they do require all their employees to wear masks.
Vernon, why can't a restaurant limit the number of people that are in?
Because it's indoors, Phil, and because
It's
the air
indoors and the air
conditioning
conditioning
recirculates.
system
Wait a
is
minute,
smaller.
let me finish it, Phil, because you don't know the science of this. The fact is that they're all air conditioned inside, and the air conditioning simply recycles the air that's already there. And if the COVID is in the air and people are going to, in a restaurant, they're not going to have masks on because they have to eat, the spread could be worse than it would be outdoors. That's why we have women. Let me finish. That's why we have outdoor dining, but we don't have indoor dining. And he's working on indoor dining with a possibility that with indoor dining, with the possibility that you could do it if you had.
A filter?
Today he's what's your name today?
Spider McKinney.
Spider McKinney. Anyway, the newest thing is a HEPA filter. It's called, God, I forget the name of it. It's like I don't know, MERS 3 or something. I don't know what the name of it is. It was 15, and it can, they think, clear the air of COVID in an air conditioner and purifier that recirculates the air and literally sucks it out. He said that's a possibility, and they're looking into it. And if a restaurant can afford to put that kind of filter into their air conditioning system, and if their air conditioning system can take one of these filters because it's very thick, he said then maybe I'll let a restaurant open. But right now, he doesn't feel comfortable about opening them.
We've had a number of restaurants where they close down the street and they put a cover over the top.
No, I said we're the
But
outdoor.
people dine outside,
Outdoor is okay.
but they're stopping that now.
Your people are stopping that. We're not stopping that here in New York.
They aren't stopping it here.
My wife and I have no desire to go out to eat. Not with this going on.
Exactly.
Right.
I think so. That's it.
Yes, Howard.
I went out for sushi last night.
Really?
Oh, what do you?
Sensei?
But he's safe in Hawaii.
You go to
There was
Sensei?
nobody there. It was
Really?
like, I think there was probably only maybe 8 people in the restaurant. And we
Wow.
were 4 of them.
Is Sensei still open in Kihei?
Sensei's gone.
It's gone.
He said that to prove to you that he's been to Hawaii and he's bragging about it, but he doesn't brag. He just throws out a name of like Sensei.
That was my favorite sushi place. And
It's because it's half off. He goes there when it's half off.
No, it's they karaoke.
Same thing, half off. If he goes there,
all I'm saying is that it took a lot of guts for a guy like Cuomo to literally take what was at the time a very unpopular stand about this, but he nipped it in the bud, and he took us from 800 deaths a day down to there were an average of 8 now a day over a 3-day rolling average. We had like a 10, we had an 8, we had a 9, and to take it down, what? What is that? Not 1,000%.
It's a factor of 100.
It's a factor of 100.
That's a 99% decrease.
99% decrease. Pretty amazing what he did.
You would think that with 50 states and one that did such a good job, it would become a model.
Nobody ever mentions it. You know, you never hear Pence get up and say, you know what he said the other day? He had the nerve to say, he said, well, you know, things are better. Look at what we did in New York.
We?
Yeah.
What we did in New York? You didn't fucking help at all. Everywhere? You know, I mean.
Well, did you hear what Pence's answer? Did you hear what Pence's answer for
what was
opening
Pence's
the
answer? What?
Pence was saying on opening schools that because Trump said the CDC regulations were too strenuous, that they're going to have the CDC revise the guidelines so that they're not so strenuous.
Trump's just probably disappointed he can't pull away from the CDC the way he did from the WHO.
Yeah.
What Pence
I was surprised to see Pence with them.
Well, that won't happen until 2021 anyway, Rob. We can say we're going to leave the WHO, but we can't actually do it until 2021.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just heard that on the news.
Could be we're obligated.
It wouldn't actually happen until like June of 2021.
Well, that's good because by then maybe we'll have cooler heads prevailing with different government and they won't pull out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Pence had a mask on today. They had them all lined up. Everybody had masks, and he had picked the mask off. That's the first time I've seen him with one.
When Pence was talking about what they did for New York, they were talking about PPE. They were talking about respirators.
No. All he said was we brought the rate down in New York. No, they didn't. They had nothing to do with New York. He had to go to Washington and beg to get the ship up here and to get help with the Javits Center, and we never wound up having to use it, by the way. But outside of that, he didn't do anything. In fact, he pulled aid from all the states.
Right. He did nothing.
He did nothing.
Telling you that thousands of respirators and millions of pieces.
Yes, they're going to Mexico.
Well, now they are.
They should be going to Arizona.
And Texas.
They're going there too. Any governor that needs it and has asked for it has received it.
Well, how come everybody's lining up to get tests in Arizona?
What about the thing? What about the thing that Trump said? And I know we're running out of time here. That Trump said that we have so many tests, we're never going to run out of tests.
You heard what FEMA said, right? FEMA says we're getting out of the testing business.
Yeah.
Who?
FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, says we're getting out of the testing business.
We haven't even tested 1/10 of the population yet, but we're done.
And if you want to test in Texas, it takes you 2 weeks to get the results back, by which time you're sick.
They've tested, as of the other day, 60 million people.
Out of 345.
And do you know how many of those tests? Do you know how many of those tests were in New York? Phil, we do 50,000 a day at least, minimum, here in New York. You want to talk about that large number? It's because of New York.
How many people have actually had the test?
Well, I had a Monday.
Yeah, I am
sure I will be before my colonoscopy.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I don't know what happened to Ray Renati, but Ray, I wish you had stuck around. I don't know. I don't know if he tried to come back, and I wasn't looking down here. But we got John Larkin on pretty fast. Say something, John, quickly.
Hey, how's it going?
Thank you. That's it for tonight. Yeah, a lot of people watching the show tonight. Really amazing.
You got a full house.
And we got a full house, and life's good, and I'm feeling better. And oh, there she is again. I keep forgetting Adrian. Adrian?
Yep.
Yeah, I got it right.
Hi, Alex.
What are you looking so sour for, Adrian?
She's always shy.
Tired?
Yeah. Anyway.
I hope so.
She's good. Anyway, thank you all for joining us. Why don't you give a big wave goodbye, and I will give a big wave goodbye back at you. Okay, and there we go, folks. That's our citizen panel for tonight. Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun one. A lot of nice arguing and getting nasty and mean with each other. Anyway, listen, Jack Bishop is next with The Intersection, and he will be followed by absolutely nobody, but it'll be followed by me tomorrow night. I'll be here at, what time? Oh yeah, 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Good night, everybody, and wear a mask, okay, and stay safe.